We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 67. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, otherwise known as the director, the actress, and who the hell is that guy? Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, a podcast that's all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-hosts Chad Kukahiko and Michelle Lukadu. All of us, yes, all of us independent filmmakers and members of the We Make Movies filmmaking community in Los Angeles. Hey, guys! Feels good to be
back.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we missed last week. Anybody who didn't see us last week and was disappointed by that. First of all, you could probably find better things to do with your time, but we still love you for being loyal fans. Basically, one of the big investors on the short film Unsaid bought me a ticket to Kamikaze for me and my wife to go down there and enjoy, and I was sort of like, I'm gonna go do Kamikaze, guys.
But you also were able to get in the kids. How are kids free at Kamikaze or something? Or?
12 and under is free, so it's actually a fantastic place to take your kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have the episode last week, but thank you for caring.
As always, we like to remind you, whether you're watching live on YouTube, hey, we got 3 people tuned in live on the YouTube channel, or whether you are one of our loyal audio listeners, please log into iTunes, rate the We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast. It really helps us get discovered by other people like yourself. And give a thumbs up on the video on the YouTube channel if you like it. And if you leave comments on the YouTube page as you watch this, we can pull them up and answer them live on the show, and we will do that. And we would be happy.
If you are watching this live, if you are watching this on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, we're not going to be able to go back in time and answer those questions for you.
But if you were watching it on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it wouldn't be live.
Exactly.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
In other community news, this Wednesday is the Writers' Workshop, which happens at 7:30 p.m. at the Theater Asylum in Hollywood, Los Angeles. Come on by. It's the is this week the Writers' Workshop? Yes, because last week was Improv Games. Okay, cool.
Right.
Do you want to give your update, Chad?
No, it was hilarious watching you kind of falter because I had all these comments in the notes that have nothing to do with anything that he just said. So I
got confused because I thought that last week was Writers' Night, but now I remember it was Improv Games. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
I won't be there. I'm hoping someone will read the values for me, but you should definitely go. I'm going to be in Seattle that night. But definitely come because the holidays are coming, and we're going to have less workshops because obviously we're going to take off the week of Thanksgiving, and then we always take about 2, sometimes 3 weeks off for Hanukkah, Christmas, blah, 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 all those in December. So definitely come. Make sure you get your fix before you head home to the holidays.
I would like to volunteer. I don't know, Chad, but if anyone has volunteered to read the values, for those of you listening, this is something Chad does at the beginning of every writer's workshop, which basically is don't be a dick. But I would like to read the values. Said 5 different ways. Right. I would like to volunteer to read the values.
Awesome. I don't think you're
gonna. I'm gonna video the values reading. I'm going to video the values reading.
Dan.
Go ahead. Yeah. But I'm going to video it, Chad, because I bet you nobody's going to do the thing that you fucking hate, and nobody's going to call them out with whoever ends up reading the values. So I'm going to video that just to send it to you, just to get you angry at the group.
No, it would be awesome if it just goes flawlessly without a hitch. Yeah. I mean, listen, if somebody else could do it without causing the cheers, I would happily hand it over.
Oh, there will be cheers, Chad, and there will be interpretive dancing.
There will probably be dollar bills thrown at this.
All the new people are going to immediately walk out the door. Why don't we move on?
Yeah, let's get into the general news items for the week. Michelle, you're up first.
Yeah, and Garrett, here's my news item you might know a little bit more about, but I was reading about Vimeo on Monday. They announced that they're introducing features whose aim is to help filmmakers with paid Vimeo Pro accounts bring their work to audiences. So basically, it's closed captioning and subtitling tools powered by this group Amara. And Vimeo is offering a free self-service editor to create like captions and subtitle files and stuff like that. And there's like options. There's different levels of, you know, how many subtitles you want, whether you want to do it yourself. It does sound interesting. Garrett, I don't know what you think about this. I mean, I know Vimeo is huge and getting huger around the world, despite being banned by countries. I looked into Vimeo has been banned by a lot of countries.
Really?
Indonesia, Turkey, India, yeah. But its worldwide viewership like continues to grow, so it might be a cool thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like,
I think
would you pay for subtitles in Japanese?
I don't know, but I mean, YouTube kind of gives it away for free. But I actually have a question. That's nice mustache.
I actually got this mug from Kirsten Vangsness. Interestingly
I do
enough.
not know who that is, but I actually have a question. Those places that ban Vimeo, do you know if they also ban YouTube?
That is not something I researched. I was just researching like the Vimeo on the world, but I'm guessing yes.
No, I would bet that they don't, and it's probably because Vimeo has more lax content guidelines. Vimeo is like you can basically do whatever you want. They do. I mean, they don't allow certain things that they don't allow
Copyright infringement,
things like that. But like you can have boobs, for example, which is just on YouTube. You cannot. Vimeo, I don't think they allow like pornographic content, but you could have something that would be like a hard R rated film. You could have that on Vimeo with no problems. And for that, I have heard of them being banned from countries for that, but I don't know for sure that that's the case.
There's a list of censorship for YouTube by country on Wikipedia. Afghanistan has blocked it completely. Armenia, Bangladesh, Brazil is.
I thought there was no Armenia. I didn't know there was an American geography at its finest.
Great, Chad. There goes our Armenian viewership.
Whatever.
I thought Turkey destroyed Armenia.
Yes, this was in 2008.
Swallowed it up.
Following the presidential elections. So I'm just reading down the list. But yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot like Turkey.
Armenia. You mean Glendale?
Tunisia.
Oh God, Chad, come
Chad,
on now.
Shut up! I'm late. I'm busy reading. Libya.
I mean, I think that's something people can
yeah, you can check it up and check it out on Wikipedia. It's interesting.
In a nutshell, I think it would be. I think it honestly depends on what they're charging. I'm excited by the prospect because a very interesting revolution that's happening in the self-publishing world right now is that people are offering there's lots of companies trying to offer their translation services for a royalty share. Basically, they're like, we'll translate your book to German, and we just split the royalties 50-50, which you have to make sure that the company is reputable, but companies are swiftly gaining reputability by working with big authors and everything, and then, like other indie authors are applying to them, but they don't charge you anything. It's right. All just like, we think that your book is doing well enough in America that if we translated it to German, the German ebook market is detonating right now. It's amazing. Wow. So anyway,
there's no overhead. There is overhead with this. Like there are no free options as far as this is concerned. So
it'd be worth seeing. It'd be worth seeing how much
if you put in closed captions in YouTube, it will automatically translate if people want to translate. Mind you, it's Google Translate.
I was going to say, it's Google Translate.
We all know about Google Translate, guys.
Chad, let's get on to your segment.
Sounds good. So, as you may or may not know, AFM, the I think American Film Market, is what it stands for. It started this week. It started on Monday, and as usual, the news of movie sales and deals and whatnot hitting the trades they're starting to come out. Here's a particularly interesting tidbit regarding Tarantino's perpetually fascinating Hateful Eight, the script of which was leaked several months ago, which then led to Tarantino saying he would not make a movie out of it and instead make a novel. But then in April, he ended up doing a staged reading as a fundraiser. The tickets to which, by the way, were $200 a piece. So after that, I guess he decided he was going to make the movie after all. So it's been on the market at and I forgot to mention the teaser that also leaked I believe after a Comic-Con.
Which wasn't anything, by the way.
It wasn't really anything. It was just he hired a dude to do some action, After Effects. It was, it had his name on it, so people peed their pants. Anyway, at AFM this year, apparently Weinstein Company is starting on, the Tarantino's behalf to solicit bids for Hateful Eight from distributors. This is the thing, though. Tarantino told the Weinsteins that he only wanted them to accept bids from independent distribution companies. So even though his last two films, Django Unchained and Inglourious Basterds, were distributed by major studios, Sony and Universal to be exact, I don't know which one did which. That's all. Independent distribution companies are all they're going to be looking at. I mean, at least for now. The good news is that because the film only cost $44 million, which is apparently a lot less than Django or Inglourious cost, it'll be actually within the range of some of these independent guys. But it's hard to see if Tarantino isn't saying anything about it, and the Weinsteins aren't saying anything, aren't giving anything more than that. They're just saying indies only. That's all we're taking bids from. They're not even saying that it's a permanent thing. Maybe they're giving just the initial. So we'll see what'll happen when the deal is cut. If it is cut, I mean, in a normal situation, we may or may not it might get buried in the Hollywood Reporter. But considering the Hateful Eight is like just a constant magnet for attention, it's entirely possible that it will be at least on my radar. And of course, I will let you know what I find out about it.
Peripherally, as an observer of all this kind of thing, I feel like studios really try and screw over filmmakers on distribution, because distribution, specifically DVD distribution, was the reason for the fallout between Peter Jackson and New Line Cinema. That was the reason that The Hobbit took 10 fucking years to produce after Lord of the Rings. The studio was champing at the bit. And, I'm sure Peter Jackson would have loved to make it too, but he's like, you guys are literally like violating your contract with me on fucking distribution. And they were like, oh, you're never making a film with us as long as we're New Line Cinema. And then Warner Brothers was like, goodbye, New Line Cinema.
I'm just glad your command of the nuance of distribution is so strong. I mean, that was one of the most obvious. To me, that's like, wait a minute, I think distribution companies are out to screw the filmmakers. Like, that's like the most obvious. Like, what? Hello, Captain Obvious. I mean,
I don't. Well, but I mean, I think I don't think it's a problem that's exclusive to studios. I'm just saying that I think studios kind of have this idea that they can just like totally get away with it, and now in the modern age, I think filmmakers are like, no, fuck you. Like,
you're almost segueing into my next piece. And
all right, I will stop and I will move on then.
Yeah, so, let's do that.
For anybody who doesn't know, Comic-Con this year, DC. Basically, at Comic-Con every year, there's this sort of like DC versus Marvel. Like, who's gonna win? Who's gonna have the coolest announcements? Who's gonna get their fans all excited?
That's just like Marvel beating up a baby. It's not really.
Well, here's the thing.
Now that Nolan's not around.
No, here's the thing. At Comic-Con this year, DC definitely won because Marvel didn't announce shit. DC came out and they said, we're going to do this film and we're going to have a Wonder Woman film. And everybody was like, a female lead in a superhero film, and they were going to have Aquaman film, and the stadium fell silent. And then we're going to have Justice League on, blah, blah year. And Marvel was like, okay. Because I
heard that news and I was like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, no, but here's the thing.
Well,
they announced more films. They announced more films, therefore they won. But Marvel, and of course it's almost impossible for someone not to have heard about this. Marvel in the last
it's a very dubious interpretation of the word won.
Well, that's just what the internet declared. But in the last couple of weeks, Marvel just unzipped and just peed in DC's mouth. They just fucking annihilated them. They announced a lineup of
I think I've seen that bumper sticker.
Right? Marvel's peeing in DC's mouth. They announced a schedule of 11 films over the next 5 years, a couple of which we knew about. Like, we know Avengers 2 is coming in May, and we know that Ant-Man is coming in July next year. But then they announced everything else. They announced an African-American superhero film, The Black Panther, which everybody is super excited about. He's an awesome character, and we get a black superhero. You know, yay. And then their first female-led superhero, which is going to be Captain Marvel. And then, just to be extra asshole about it, they announced the release date of Captain Marvel, and it's coming out before Wonder Woman. Just for an extra dick slap in the face. Just to lambaste him with
it's not a fight. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not a fight. It's not a fight.
It wouldn't be a fight if DC didn't keep trying to treat it like a fight. That's the thing.
DC, but it's like a kid running up to a boxer and trying to fight you know what I mean? It's like they got Zack Snyder, for Christ. That's all they got. That's all they got. They got this hack.
Look
at who Marvel has. Yeah. Look who Marvel has. I mean, it's like they have everybody.
They literally do. You know.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a fight. It's just it's like come on, tough guy. You know, little kid trying to pick a fight with a friggin' heavyweight champ.
Every announcement is hilarious to me. DC's like, we're casting Ben Affleck as Batman, and the world is like, what? And then Marvel's like, oh, hey guys, what's up? Oh, just thought I'd let you know we're casting Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. No, and everybody's like,
is that true? Oh my God, is that true?
Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. It's 99.5% confirmed.
Oh my God!
Chad just wet his pants.
Yeah, I did wet my pants. Doctor Strange is one of my favorites.
He's the best. He's amazing. And Benedict Cumberbatch is fucking awesome. Oh, yeah, and now, dude, if Benedict Cumberbatch makes it into the Star Wars franchise, he's going to be to geekdom.
We'll own everything.
Has become. Yeah, it's like it's insane. Yes. So anyway, that's Marvel's just.
Wow.
By the way, sorry I just completely heckled your entire.
No, it's fine. It's fine. The concept of a Marvel DC fight is ridiculous. That's the thing. But as long as DC keeps saying things like, "You want your female-led superhero film? Well, we've got it." Then I'm gonna keep pointing out that they're fucking idiots.
It's like BlackBerry trying to take on Apple. I mean, it's just. I almost made you do a spit take.
You almost did.
For those just listening to this. You did not see the near spit take.
All right, Michelle.
And for those listening to this, let's throw in some comments if you have anything to say.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the spit take. That's what a spit take would sound like if it was a real one.
Wow. Okay. So speaking of hilarious things, Angelina Jolie. Why can't I talk? Where's my coffee? She's apparently giving up acting for politics. Yeah. Well, that's what the rumor is. Anyway, she's currently in Malta filming by the sea with, her Mr. Smith and, wearing a burqa and feeding starving children. Whatever.
Right before adopting them.
Yeah, I know. She should maybe feed herself. But in a recent interview, she said she's giving up acting. And I quote, she says, "If you want to make an extreme change, you have a responsibility." And then when asked if she would consider a political position, she said, "Candidly, I would be open."
Well, she's already mastered vague and meaningless statements, so this is...
I actually would not.
Jolie for president.
If she ends up like what's his name out in Minnesota, I think that would be a good thing. He's done pretty damn good job, and he's really sharp. So,
I wouldn't discount her if she did get into politics. I just, I don't know what about the idea. Maybe it's the fact that I did this for an April Fool's joke this year on my vlog. I said that I was giving up writing and going into politics. And I had so many people jumping in comments like, dude, I'm sad to see your books go, but I think you could actually do politics. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where else? What other job in the world other than acting do you just say, hey, I'm just going to go into politics, when you're halfway through your career? You don't see, other than, people in law or people that have, been in politics for years and years and years. I mean, seriously? That's, completely unrelated.
Yeah,
But politics isn't the kind of thing that you necessarily are going to thrive at from the age of 20. Generally speaking, a
that's
lot of
true.
the a lot of successful politicians are later in their life, and a lot of people have done exactly that. I mean, it's the kind of thing. I mean, we're not a politics blog, but believe me, I couldn't talk about politics, so we don't want to
Please don't.
necessarily.
Please don't.
Yes,
Well,
it
and
is.
a lot of people were very sad that Clay Aiken lost the race as well. But alas, I
It's
think that
Honestly,
if you
I think Angelina Jolie would be a better Ronald Reagan than Ronald Reagan was.
it's. I mean, you can't tell.
this is not
You can't
the
tell off the
discussion.
my point is that you cannot tell. You don't know. Until they start, there's no way to know
Yeah.
because you know what I mean. It depends on how good. I mean, and to be completely honest with you, people in the entertainment industry are actually well suited to a lot of the sort of BS. I mean, I've had people talk as fascinated and interested in politics as I've been for many years. I've had many people talk to me about getting into politics. I'm like, yeah, nope, because that is like doing everything that I'm doing now, but with my hands tied behind my back. I feel
Right.
like artists and in particular writers are so much closer to actual politics than they realize. So it's like it always drives me crazy that people and I will back up that statement in just one moment and we won't have to stay on this long. But the point is like what artists do, and particularly writers or anybody who kind of creates anything, is they are shaping sort of through their work, they're shaping the consciousness of the people. They're shading sort of the beliefs that people they put into art, different concepts, and then they have these concepts battle it out. And you'd be shocked at how many people will change. Maybe you wouldn't be, but they change their minds about something after they read a book, after they see a movie, after they see something of fiction. And that, in many ways, is what politicians do, except they have to go and then make policy out of it. So, anyway, I don't want to get. This is
Go
like
become a politician, Chad. Do it.
no, it's never going to happen. I
No.
feel much more powerful, honestly, much more effective at doing the same stuff, but doing what I'm doing now. If I were to get a bigger audience, let's
I
say.
agree. But let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay. So, one benefit of having a girlfriend who runs one of the theaters at AFM, which is I've discussed that last year as well, is that I get kind of a front row seat to some of the trends and developments, at least sort of anecdotally. Unfortunately, a lot of what I hear is, I can't actually repeat because it's probably pretty confidential and could get people in trouble and whatnot. But
Ooh.
so I won't obviously say those things, but what it does interest me, and I pick her brain afterwards, is some of the sort of technological advancements, some of the market changes that she's seeing in her, the theater that she runs, and it's really interesting. And one thing that she was telling me about is that at least through the people that she's been speaking to, they're in general, the people have been, compared to the last 2 years, a lot cheerier, a lot happier, a lot like more optimistic. She says that, again, this is just anecdotal, that foreign pre-sales are coming back in a way that, for the past 2 years, they've just been vanishing and vanishing. But suddenly, out of the blue, apparently, this year as AFM, they're coming back.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. That's really good news for indie films because that's pretty much how they're funded, most of them. Another development is that DCPs, if you don't know what DCPs are, they're basically a particular way of how digital films are screened. But they have been in the past really difficult to create. They're becoming less and less difficult to create, and because of that,
Stands
DCP.
for Digital Cinema Package for anybody who's an acronym nerd like me.
Thank you. And there's a lot of there's a lot more DCPs, and apparently, and she couldn't describe the exact process to me, but there's a particular sort of security to the way that they're delivering some of these DCPs that makes it pretty, I think, kind of compelling. It's not like you just hand somebody a Blu-ray or a hard drive or something, and then they can use it. It sounds like you have a specific window. I don't know if that's to download it though, because that would not necessarily be very secure, or it is to sort of play it. But at any rate, that's something interesting. I'll try to do more research on that. Some of the smaller theaters, like the one that Kendall runs, plays just like Blu-rays and some of the older media players like HD cams and stuff. But apparently, yeah, a lot of those larger theaters are playing a lot of these DCPs. Their piracy is back sort of in the news with this AFM in a sort of roundabout way because Avi Lerner, and I'm not sure why. Anyway, so he was talking about AFM in an article, and I'll get to what he was saying. He basically was blaming piracy for how badly The Expendables 3 has been doing at the box
Makes
office.
total sense. Absolutely.
Totally piracy. He says because of
Wow.
piracy, Expendables 3 lost $250 million. But this is also something that he said. He said they are feeling it at AFM this year, piracy, which is completely opposite to what Kendall's been telling me. He was a big proponent of the SOPA and PIPA laws, that bills rather, that they were trying to get through Congress, that all the internet hated because it was very anti net neutrality, and he basically blames, like I said, oh, by the way, and he said this is a quote, according to Alex Ben Block at the Hollywood Reporter, who is basically where I'm getting this scoop from overall, and this is a quote. Avi Lerner said, "The whole film business is going to be the same as the music business. Within 5 years, we're not going to have a business," which doesn't entirely make sense to me because there still is a music business, is there not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would venture.
And I don't understand the interwebs, and I don't know how your blue DVDs work. And man, sorry,
It's not even. I don't think
I'm
that's even the
paraphrasing my
problem.
own quote of what the guy is saying.
I don't think that's even the thing. I think he's got a really shitty movie. Pardon my French, Mom, if you're listening to this, but he's got a really shitty movie on his hands, and people have finally gotten up. I mean, I have not seen the third one. The first was enough, and it was so bad, and it was just so many. It was just awful, and I don't see how he could think that maybe these people in other countries that apparently have been buying the first two Expendable movies got sick of getting, like, they're not about to get led back to that festering watering hole on the third time. Maybe they're done with it. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's not piracy. So anyway, I
just said
personally,
festering watering hole.
by the way, on a sort of side note, I would actually love to see a film industry that looks like what the music industry has turned into today. I mean, it was. I mean, talk about ripping people off the way that you were talking about before. The music industry back in the day, I had a deal back in 2000 with in this band that I was in called Kane with Elektra Records, and it was like a 66-page contract, which just kind of detailed all the ways I was getting ass raped, and it was like back in those days. That was the music industry. I mean, and this is basically what I was talking about when you were talking about this earlier, is that is still the film industry if it were completely up to these distribution. I mean, that is the film industry, honestly. There is no sort of, the indie market is more or less kind of gone in terms of how compared to what it used to be like back in the 90s and whatnot. But that may be the thing that will turn it. Maybe this will, start to turn. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm going to get even more into this particular chain on my main topic, but anyway, what do you guys think?
I think it's cool.
I think it can't not change.
It's changing every day. People are trying new things. I mean, fucking Joss Whedon is distributing films exclusively through Vimeo. Like the world is not the same as it was.
Wait. Which films?
He's what do you call it? His film, Not Much Ado. Much Ado is in theaters.
Oh.
But he did a film that was distributed exclusively through Vimeo. You could rent it for $5.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. It was great. Anyway, but that we are running quite long, so I'm going to jump right into my next segment, which is
In Your Eyes.
We're going to see Toy Story 4.
Oh God.
God fucking damn it. So the announcement that a new Toy Story film is coming to all of our eye holes was greeted with cheers by some people and by many people with groans. So the third film wrapped it up perfectly. It was done. It was such a great trilogy, and the story was done. And we would love to see Pixar create more new, original movies. They're good at that. Their original films are very good. But no, we're gonna get a Toy Story. We're gonna get Toy Story 4.
You know why?
Why?
People keep having babies.
Yeah, well.
If we stopped having babies, They would
But
stop making Toy Story
here's the
movies.
thing. People were still having babies, and Toy Story came out, and Toy Story was a great new thing for those babies. And then Wreck-It Ralph was a great new thing for those babies. And so was Frozen, and so was Wall-E. There are always new things. And there are new things that you can create without
That's true.
shitting all over the dreams of the people who originally enjoyed the films when they were children, George Lucas. No,
Wow.
sorry, I don't know where my head went on that one. But anyway, the third film wrapped up the series so nicely. It was such a great trilogy. It was really close to a perfect trilogy. It wasn't perfect. I didn't like 2 as much as 1 or 3. Oh, and by the way, so they made Toy Story 1, and then they made Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 2 didn't do as well, so they got a different director for Toy Story 3. Guess who's directing Toy Story 4?
The one
The
who
same
directed
guy who
Toy
did
Story
1
2.
and 2. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you could have just left the trilogy. If you really have to, do a spin-off. A spin-off is kind of okay. Like, I could watch a movie about Jessie or one of the other toys with, like, some really awesome, cool personality. But a
Some
whole
kind of
other
prequel.
toy... Sorry? Yeah,
Some kind of
something
prequel
like
or
that.
something.
But a whole other movie... You know, what sucks is that I might even enjoy the 4th one. But what it signals to me is that they're going to keep making them until it's just dead. And then I will be sad.
I wish I had something to say about this. I actually.
I
I
mean,
mean,
from a financial standpoint, who cares if it's sad if it's making money?
no,
They
no.
don't.
I'm not saying the movie is sad. I'm going to be sad when they keep going until it isn't making money anymore,
What was
because
that
then
one
it's
of the
going to be
airplane?
sad. What?
Wasn't it one of the airplane movies where they had a poster for like Rocky 27?
Yeah.
That's anyway. I thought that
It's
was
like
Um,
people just need to learn how to step away. Like, think of the respect you're going to have when you're 80 and you stepped away from your perfect trilogy. Think about when you become Breaking Bad instead of Dexter. The people behind Breaking Bad will be lauded forever in the
Wire
history
too.
You
of great
cannot
television.
compare Breaking Bad and Dexter. A.
Absolutely. Dexter
B.
season 3 finale was the best thing. And if they'd gone one more season and then wrapped up the storyline, holy crap, Dexter would be remembered as just this fantastic TV show. Instead, it overstayed its welcome.
I'm with Michelle on this. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely different. And
It's
it's
so much better by degrees.
It is, but the number one complaint people who love Dexter, the number one complaint they have with Dexter is that it got shitty after season 3. That's the number one complaint among people who love Dexter. So it's
right.
not,
I mean, here's the thing.
or as bad as Breaking Bad. It's just that Breaking Bad was like, you know what? 6th season, we're done. AMC wanted them to do another season, and he was just like, no, I'm done.
Hey,
Same-
But a lot of producers aren't artists. I mean,
Quick side note.
unfortunately.
Right.
comments-
That's the problem.
quick side note: the comments have finally started to appear for me. I don't know why.
Yes.
And heckling Garrett as part of the show. So Matt Hunt has been
Ah.
commenting a few times. That is very true. I absolutely.
We should all heckle Garrett.
We're doing it right now, in fact.
And Matt also said YouTube will be banned in those other countries as well as soon as they see this show, referring to the YouTube.
Zing.
Anyway, now I've run quite long on my segment, so we should actually
Yes, shut up.
Let's go into the main topics.
go, Michelle.
Shall we?
Yay! Okay, so last week, for those of you who don't know, I'm doing the musical version of Big Fish, the Tim Burton film, that is written by John August. And he came to see the show, and I got to meet him afterwards. He said he loved my work. I was very excited.
Nice.
Still geeking out about that. You
I'm
are
still
adorable.
geeking out about it. I'm totally geeking out about it. Like, I had to leave before I said something stupid. I was like, thanks for coming, and then like laughed. Like, Scriptness is so good. Scriptness is awesome. So anyway, so I figured I would like do my main topic about John August, but largely his, and he's been doing, talking about this on his podcast, Script Notes, which is great if you guys haven't listened to it. He started a Kickstarter for this pack of cards that is called the Writer Emergency Kit. It's a Writer Emergency Pack, and it is a deck of cards for when you, as a screenwriter, get stuck or like have an issue or have a problem, whatever. And it's really fun because on the podcast he'll like pull it out, like he'll like, let's pull out a card, and pulls out a card for, it's like zombie apocalypse or switch genres or something. It's really interesting and it's really fun. The Kickstarter is fully funded and it's a great. I think it's like $19 for a pack of cards, and they're donating. They're also like donating one to like kids for everyone that's purchased, and it's great and it's cool. But I'm wondering, as a writer, if this is like really useful, or is it just something that you like give someone as like a gag gift kind of thing?
I'm the worst person to ask on this kind of thing, but I'm going to answer anyway. I
actually wasn't asking you.
Well, here's the thing. Many people claim to be helped by things like this. I find, personally, and I do not have anybody else's life experience, I find that getting over finding an excuse or a way to get over a writing block is just building yourself a future excuse. In other words, if the deck of cards, I mean, like, and I don't want to discount anything that he's doing. Like, maybe this is what has helped him in the past. But for me, when I see people be like, "Oh, I can't write unless I then that's just an excuse to say, "Oh, well, I can't right now, so I can't write." And it's just like, dude, just put your fucking ass down in the chair and start hitting keys. Like, that's my ultimate solution. But then again, lots of people do these writing prompt type things, and apparently it helps. I don't know.
One thing that I noticed, and this is, I think, universal to all art forms, is that when I was cast in 90 in Stomp, I don't really care.
Have you guys noticed, like, Chad's like pulling out all of his stuff? He's like, oh yeah, that band I used to be in, and like that really big show that I was in, and then like I'm like famous and shit, but like I'm just gonna like drop things.
Nobody knows me. I'm just saying. Let me finish my thought. There were 22 people hired all at the same time to figure out how to do that show. We had some time to do it because there were a lot of us, but something that I discovered really early on. By the way, and this is actually completely related to this topic. Two of my closest friends at the beginning of the show, one who was a neighbor, and we were like, oh my God, we're neighbors, so we just kind of hung out. And then one who I knew from college, they both got kicked out of the show. Yeah, I knew they were at a certain point. I knew they were in danger, and I learned things in a very particular way. I'm very visual, so I was like, as they were doing this stuff, I was like taking notes, writing it down so that I would know the beats. And it was like basically musical notes, and but it was like my shorthand version of it. And so I would try to teach these guys with this stuff as they were, especially when they started to they found out that they were on the razor's edge, they were about to get cut, and they didn't respond at all. And then I was noticing the other people that were actually learning really fast, and they learned in completely different ways. And I think that it's the same with writers. That I don't think that would help me at all. Yeah. But I have no idea how many writers. I have no idea what percentage of writers out there that would work for. And it very well may be the majority of them. In fact, I have no idea how many people write the way I do. You know what I mean? I have a very particular process, and it would be like way outside of it that I don't think would really help it at all. I
actually feel like I should amend what I said earlier, because there are many people who can really only write when they're sort of like inspired to write, but those people have their self-discipline, and so that when they get inspired, they stop what they are doing, or they work out a system, or like even if they have a job, they have like a notepad and they pull it out and they scribble on it for a few minutes or something like that. And so I don't want to discount those people, but like I just am tired. I know way too many people, and not just writers, filmmakers and actors and anybody else who who's like, oh yeah, I want to, but first I have to do blah. It's like that becomes an excuse for so many people. But
I don't know if this is that though, Garrett. I think
this isn't that. And that's why I want to amend what I said before. Is like if you set yourself the time if you are actually taking active, disciplined steps to further yourself as a writer, and then you get this as an additional tool to help with that, I think that would be actually really
cool. Yeah, because this is just like if you're stuck, if you're actually in the chair and you're clacking keys and you're sick of it just being nonsense. You know what I mean? I think that's what this is, and I think that could be interesting if that's if that's helpful to your process.
I don't know what you're talking about. Every word from my fingers is brilliant.
Brilliant. I poop from my fingers.
That's what she said.
All right.
Fantastic.
Is it my turn? I'm
It's
sorry.
yours.
It is.
It's your
My bad. Sorry, I was like, when are you going to go, Garrett? When are you going to go? So, Showtime now. This is me gloating. This is my gloating face if you are watching this. Showtime has now announced that they will launch a standalone service in 2015. I love it when I'm right. I, for one, cannot wait to see how it looks because they have actually a bunch of shows. I think, what is it called? Penny Dreadful? Oh, I love that show. The first episode I saw was really, I hope that the rest of the episodes are as good as the very first one. Anyway, I'll definitely get it for a month or two just to see what they have on it. But, anyway, it's hard for me not to gloat. I'm like giggling. I'm giggling inside right now because it's like, it's this thing that I've been waiting to happen, this tipping point for people to drop packaged cable. 2015 is definitely the year it's going to begin.
I wish you hadn't said tipping point. Now we owe Malcolm Gladwell $25.
I don't think he's trademarked the term. Because I think if he tried, I think that there are some epidemiologists that would be suing him. Anyway,
I think we'd tip him off the point of
over the. Don't even get me started on Malcolm Gladwell.
Well, hold on. Let me finish. I started. This is my turn. So, 2015 is going to be a very, very interesting year for indie TV. And mark my words, here is the next stage of my predictions, which so far have been right, although a little tardy. If you are a billionaire or a millionaire, or even if you just have some money to invest, I highly suggest you start to look for a solid independent series or maybe sort of a package of series with a particular production company to fund and get them ready to put on the market by mid to late 2015 or early 2016, because once this cable tipping point really kicks into gear, I promise you the indie TV market is going to explode. It's going to go completely bananas. It's not going to be overnight, but I guarantee you as soon as a couple of these things, this is the thing, is that Showtime and HBO, they're launching these standalone streaming services. Probably everybody, I mean, CBS is already doing it too. Yeah. Everybody's going to do it. USA, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be looking for content. Every single one of these standalone, and some of them will be like, it's going to be a freaking bloodbath. I'm telling you. I mean, it could be, you could be the beneficiary of that. Yeah. Because every single one of these services is going to be starved for content, and they're going to try to get it exclusive, and maybe they won't be able to get it exclusive, maybe able to get sort of semi-exclusive, like they have a couple. We don't know. Any deal in the world that you're going to be able to create, you're going to be able to create. So anyway, that is the next stage in my prediction. Indie TV market's going to blow up. Get in on it. If you got money, if you don't have money and you're just like an artist like us, find this content. Seek out this content. And anyway, that is my prediction.
It's so funny that you're talking about this right now, and that this is going on right now, because for the last week, this Matt Hunt, by now, I mean, basically friend of the show.
I know him as well as his brother Mike.
Yeah, no, his brother Mike's a good guy.
Good guy, solid guy.
I don't know what it is. Anyway, I went there. No, but Matt, buddy of mine, and by now friend of the show. We are developing a series. We are developing a series right now that we want to make in April, and like the more updates I hear about HBO and now Showtime and everything, the more I'm just like,
Yeah. We're developing one. We're developing at least one, and we make movies. But I would love sort of a package. Honestly, I would love like a whole series. I mean, I heard you like a nice big. No, sorry, God.
Wow.
I'm such a child. Sorry.
You are a child.
It's usually me.
I had so much pent-up energy after you said tardy in the middle of your speech. It was just so I wanted to go. That's a very offensive term to anybody who actually is. Anyway. Oh
Tardy, it
God.
means late. What are you
Oh,
talking about?
I know, but it's like, because it kind of sounds like a tard. Anyway.
Oh, I've
Wow.
I
never.
just have so many pent up jokes. You guys don't know how lucky you are. You don't know how many jokes I don't say. I restrain myself from saying. You're very
Wow.
lucky.
I don't
Yeah,
know if I should be
neither
impressed
of us
by
I'm
that.
going to
restrain
stop and let
ourselves.
you two carry on with this discussion. Just until I'm just going to go.
Well, what the funny thing is
Garrett,
that
how much coffee did you have this morning? I'm
So
interested.
much. I've actually been up since 3:30, so I have had a lot of coffee.
the,
I
the,
got
the
the
funny thing
crazy eye
is
rocking.
Yeah.
the funny thing is about this particular sort of trend that is I mean it has been happening for years, and sort of one of my mentors, all he doesn't know it, or is mentor the right term for somebody that you admire? No, probably
Role
not.
model?
Role model, one of my a guy that I listen to a lot and I read a lot of what he writes, etc. Mark Suster, he runs the both sides of the table. I've talked about him a lot.
Yeah.
He has been talking about this for years and years, since I think 2010, maybe even 2009. He's been talking about this. I mean, he put his money where his mouth is when he started investing in Maker Studios, and has, I'm sure, benefited some. I don't know the details, but I know that Maker Studios is doing really well. Disney bought him, etc. So he knows what he's talking about. He's already made money off of it. But I think that the trend is continuing. I don't think that YouTube is the end all be all. I think that he's kind of got his money and maybe gotten out, maybe not, maybe he's still looking around, I don't know, but I think it's still continuing because I still see that gap that I've talked about so much of the time between YouTube and sort of the mainstream market. There's a big monetary gap.
Huge.
People are trying to fill in. Vimeo's trying to fill it in. VHX, PivotShare, Yekra, even to some degree YouTube, and honestly even to some degree Hulu and Netflix. No one has really quite figured it out, and I really think that these
Amazon's
standalone
limping
services.
along. Let's not forget about them.
Sorry, say again.
Amazon's
Oh.
limping along. Let's not forget about them.
Dude, yeah, but they've been losing money. I did not know this, but they've actually been losing money for the past couple of years, which is, I mean, they got more money than God, but the fact, I think, anyway, this is basically their sieve. This is like the place where all the money's dripping out for them. They don't have a hand. They're not players yet. They have the money to be, but anyway. Oh, Matt's going to kill me with a spoon. I don't know if
I
that's
think he was
me.
talking to me. He might have been talking to me.
I don't
No,
know.
I think
was
it's
talking
talking
about
about the Mike Hunt thing. Um,
Yep. So that's probably me. Anyway,
yeah,
sorry
right.
about that. It's just I can't help myself. But I
I
think
do like. Sorry, go ahead.
wait, I'm sorry. My point is that I've been seeing this trend coming, and I've been talking about it, and but now that it's coming, I feel like I can see the specifics. I feel like I can see how it's going to, you know what I mean? Now that HBO and Showtime are right around the corner, about to drop, I can see that this is where it's going to happen. I mean, and it can also, listen, PivotShare, Yekra, Vimeo, these other guys might be able to find their way into it. I just don't know. Maybe somebody else, but definitely HBO and Showtime are going to be at the top of that list. And any of the regular cable networks that start to put their own standalone service, these guys are going to be the tip of the spear, is what I predict.
Absolutely.
I mean, so here's the question as far as like budget is concerned and as far as like production value. I mean, when they become standalone networks, I mean, do you, and yeah, I think it's great that the indie TV market is going to become huge, but like, do you anticipate that like the overall production value / budget of shows on these networks, on these standalone networks is going to go down?
No.
Obviously,
No.
not the tent poles, but they'll be snapping up stuff like Deadbeat. I don't know if you ever saw Deadbeat on Hulu. It wasn't like the production values were not
Come
fantastic.
on, it was absolutely not fantastic. It looked like you.
There will be,
But look what Netflix is doing. I see people are going to bring the networks series, like their own series, like me and Matt, we're going to do a series,
Right.
we're going to bring it, we're going to be like, hey, and if they are interested and they buy it, they'll then go, hey, what else
I don't
have you
know about
got?
that
And
though.
then you'll
I think
get,
they might buy it outright, and that's
No,
honestly what
I
I
mean,
think.
the-
I
well-
think that it'll depend. I think that the quality will. Obviously, I think Showtime, HBO, the bigger guys are not going to want to kind of soil their. They're not going to want to buy things that have
Sure.
awful production values. But you look at a lot of the stuff that's on Hulu. I mean, they buy up a ton of stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and and people actually like some of these things, you know.
Sure.
So I think that it's going to be, it's anything is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Some of the bigger guys at the top of the list, they're probably going to keep their hands as clean and have the production values as in shape as possible. But I think that there's going to be some breakout shows, and this is where I think it's really going to explode.
That's what I was trying to say, Chad. You totally interrupted me and cock-blocked my whole point.
Go ahead.
I think
Sorry,
that
go.
people are going to bring original content that's maybe not going to be to the level of, let's say, House of Cards or even Orange is the New Black, which is not as production quality impressive as House of Cards, but it's like we're going to be bringing them things that are not at that level, but that are good. And they're going to be like, yeah, okay, we'll give you whatever we're going to give you for that. They buy the series, they put it up. If that thing then explodes, then you're going to see, they always fund their own original content. There will always be the Netflix original series, the Hulu original productions, and that will. I see that. I see us being able to break into that production sphere by bringing our own stuff that maybe isn't as high quality as their original series, but that brings the audience. And then they're like, you can bring a fucking audience? Here you go. Here's your production quality.
Absolutely.
Here's your budget.
Right.
Yeah,
This will be
like
sort of
Alpha
the
House.
off Broadway. Well, no, but I mean, Alpha House is a big money thing. I'm talking about a low money thing that somebody puts together and with low production values, but the story's there, the acting is there, and it will blow up, and it will be 1 out of 100, and because of it, or 1,000 for all, or 10,000, it'll be 1, but it'll blow up so big, it'll be in the news that suddenly financiers and production companies and everything are going to start flooding that market. Until that happens, it's open season right now, and a smart investor is going to be looking for these things because they're going to be looking at this gap that I'm talking about and realize that it's going to have to fill in. You're going to have to fill the gap. The gap will be filled.
Okay, I'm just restraining.
Really?
I think that's a good ending point for that segment, and I'm actually going to make an executive decision as a producer. My segment is so vastly inferior to that one that I'm just going to skip it. I was going to talk about the Warcraft film, and I don't fucking care anymore. So we're just going to move right on into things to know. Michelle, do you want to go first?
Yeah, just letting you guys know, Big Fish, the musical, is still playing at Musical Theater West in Long Beach. It's a beautiful show, huge, ridiculously awesome show. So come see it. So this weekend and next weekend, we close November 16th. You'll get to see me play 16 and 60 and sing and dance. And
what's the name of the theater again? And how do you, what's the URL for getting tickets?
It's musical.org, www.musical.org. And it is at the Carpenter Center for Performing Arts. Down in Long Beach. Beautiful theater, seats I think like 1,200 people, and there's dancing elephants and people on stilts, and and the beautiful work of Jeff Scalran. I don't know if you guys know who Jeff Scalran is. He actually created this really awesome series for IFC called something in Donnie, I forget. Anyway, he's playing the lead, and he's just genius. One of the best, most awesome actors I've ever worked with. So
awesome.
Good show.
Very cool.
Sweet, go check it out.
I have not seen it yet, Interstellar, and I'm seeing the Rotten Tomatoes, and they're not fantastic, but they're not bad. I still, despite all that, say go see it. Yeah. I already bought my tickets to see it at Universal Cities IMAX late this Thursday night, and I cannot wait. I'm also looking forward to Big Hero 6, which just came out. I'm hearing that that's pretty awesome. That has much better Rotten Tomatoes. Looks great. Even though I haven't seen both of these films, I'm sure you won't be disappointed if you go see them as I am going to see them.
I've heard a couple of quotes from Interstellar that have just sent me into nerdgasms for the film. Like just, my God, I can't wait to see it. My thing to know, I have a novel that I have mentioned before. It's called Nightblade. It's a fantasy novel. It's quite fun. People really like it. It's on sale. The ebook is on sale right now for 99 cents until Friday. So for $1, you can get a book. It's a book that people seem to enjoy. And if you also want to watch me write the sequel, I'm writing the sequel on live on my YouTube channel. That's over at Garrett B. Robinson. YouTube.
Don't end off yet. This just happened.
Okay, what just happened?
Somebody wants you to talk about the Warcraft film. Can you give
Oh,
us
Max,
super
I'm
brief
gonna talk.
synopsis?
I'm
No.
gonna. I'm not excited about the Warcraft film. It's probably going to suck. Every video game that's ever been made into a movie has sucked. And if Weta Workshops was doing the special effects, I would be a lot more excited about it. It's not. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, is doing the special effects. They have done films that I am not a fan of. They did Transformers. They did Pacific Rim. The models are good. The animation sucks. And the greatest sin on their list, from my perspective, is World War Z, where I thought that the zombie hordes and shit just looked absolutely terrible. So in a film where half of your main characters are going to be orcs that are, presumably going to be motion capture and are definitely going to be 3D animated characters, I am extremely saddened by the fact that Weta is. I heard many years ago that Weta was going to be doing the thingy, and they're not. It's Industrial Light and Magic, and I have nothing to be excited about for this film. Sorry, Max. Oh, go check out Max's band, Max Hengen Derpisch. I'm so sorry I can't pronounce your name. He's he's from Denmark or the Netherlands. I'm not sure. But anyway, go check out his band. He's a cool guy.
Geography
What's the name of the
again.
band?
Sorry?
What's the name of the band?
Devil Next Door. Or that might be the name of the EP. But it's cool, and you can find it on Spotify. With that, I'm going to call an end to this podcast that sort of tumbled into a wreck after a really strong last segment. That was so good.
Whatever.
Such a high note.
We're fair.
You can find us every Sunday, although the time obviously every Sunday or Saturday. The day and time obviously varies quite broadly.
Just look at our calendar. We make movies.org/calendar.
Yes, I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Michelle is on Twitter at mlucadoo, and Chad is at superfreako.com. We'll see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.